Okay, this is a good question. Does mental illness always have a spiritual component? I've received many diagnoses, but I've grown on my spiritual journey. I've questioned them, and the symptoms are all still there, but I wonder if there's more to it. Things like ADHD, PTSD, and bipolar. Absolutely. When I was younger in high school, I volunteered for homes, adult homes with individuals, adults who had mental disabilities. I have volunteered for, music camps that were all special needs kids with mental disabilities. Things like even autism, schizophrenia, those are all just labels that we put on people, but ultimately it means that your mind works a different way. If society doesn't understand the way that you function, they will label you. Even if society is trying to understand the way that you function, you will get labeled in the process, okay? So just kind of being aware of that. Don't get stuck into the label, especially the label of depression. I'm depressed, right? And then society tells you, oh, well, if your diagnosis is depressed, then it's something that you're going to have to deal with your entire life. And then in your mind, you're always battling depression. No. It's okay to have a shitty day, right? If you label yourself as depressed, you're going to actually surrender to that label and you're going to allow that to overwhelm you. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you, right? And if anything, you're special, right? It's incredible. You're special in a really good way. So especially ADD or ADHD, like my wife, I don't know if you guys know this, but she is diagnosed with ADHD, like she is ADHD. And what else is she diagnosed with? She's on the spectrum for Asperger's as well, which I can totally see those in her. And yeah, so it's really interesting. And she's just like, she's a hyper-functioning individual. She's, a lot of these starseeds, a lot of these cosmic souls, especially a lot of these children, their minds are hyper-functioning. You put any of your children in front of a doctor, and they will be diagnosed with ADHD, right? Because they don't function the same way. They're functioning in the fifth dimension frequency. They're not functioning in 3D. Right? And so we have a 3D education system and we have a 3D system to deal with human beings, and these human beings are no longer 3D. So what are we going to do? We're going to have to reform and upgrade the system. That's the only, solution here, right? So just kind of being aware of that, and try not to get stuck in the labels. If I went to a psychologist and I told them everything that I do, not for a living, but everything that I see and everything that I believe on a daily basis, I would be definitely diagnosed with probably, one of those. There's a disorder where you disconnect. I forget what it, it's the one where you have multiple personalities. That has been brought up to me before as well. And I'm like, okay, cool. Thanks, but nothing diagnosed because I don't even want to go down that realm. But once again, guys, it doesn't mean that if you're taking medication, you should stop taking medication. I am not a medical practitioner. I am not telling you to stop taking medication. If it works for you, then great. Seriously. Okay. I do believe, okay, and I want to say this, that it's not good to be in either end of the extreme, right? It's great to homeschool, but unschooling might be a little bit extreme, right? It's great to do naturopathic remedies, but we also need to realize that things like antibiotics and penicillin and what have you are actually alien technologies that we've been gifted. Do you know that the amount of technologies that they have up there? It's not just herbs and remedies. It's like technologies that allow you to never have, a disease in your body, right? So just being aware that it should always be a balance between the Western and the Eastern, because we need to realize that all of these things don't always have nefarious, nefarious consequences behind it. All right. So just balance in everything.